It's green for go. They're racing.
He says go.
He says ta-da.
And Tiger Tara roars away from them on the home turn.
Here comes another big boil over.
Equine athleticism at its best. The king is in the castle once more.
This is in one race. The rest are almost in another postcode.
She is a star with a capital S.
It's going to be a triple treat, a miracle three-peat. Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed history here at Menangle. What about that?
It's getting right up on the sprint lane and it's going to bolt in.
Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Sprint Lane Podcast live from Tabcorp Park, Menangle. Paul Cochran's my name. I'm standing next to Jessica Watkins and Freddie Hastings. And of course, Jessica Watkins and Freddie Hastings are therefore standing next to me. Hello, guys.
Hello, Paul. Hello, Fred.
That's a bit too deep for this time of the morning, Paul, but yeah, we're standing.
Just a little bit of mathematical
Jess, how are
equation
you?
for you there.
Thank you.
How's your week been, guys?
Yeah, really good. Very chilly here in Sydney, I think. It has been over the weekend, but no, it's been a good week.
It's going to be worse tomorrow. They're talking 0 in some parts of the west, so yeah, rug up.
The sun is shining, and for that we can be very thankful because there's nothing worse
Beautiful
when it's
day.
This temperature and there's a bit of precipitation attached, Jess.
Yeah, no, there's nothing worse than being at the races when there's a bit of rain, but no, the sun's out shining today and hopefully it keeps us all nice and warm for this afternoon.
Thought you were doing a Tim Bailey there.
Yes,
Bit of patter of precipitation. And
Well, I did see a bit of Sam Mack on Sunrise this
Oh,
morning,
there
so
you go.
maybe I'm a little bit influenced
Inspiration.
there.
Channeling.
Hey, at least it's an afternoon day, mate. I mean, you guys were here Saturday night. That was chilly 101 Saturday night.
Yeah, definitely had the heater cranking in my little office over there, but
I
I
didn't
tell
leave
you what,
upstairs. I stayed up there, Jess.
it was absolutely freezing.
Second doona made its way into my property last night after watching the Aussies. Oh, geez. We talk about footy a bit. I'm going to bring a little bit of my own passion to cricket. Come on, boys. 170 odd to win. Let's go. We've got to get this first scalp.
Losing Smith really, that was hard.
I've rolled up a few of our forefathers, should we call them, the English. I put a tweet out on my just saying, because there was a send-off. Aussie Khawaja got a serious send-off from and you don't give someone a spray when they've just knocked
Got
141 and he's throwing his wicket away. And I just said, I don't think that would have gone unnoticed by the Australian dressing room. I think this morning it had something like 180,000 views. I've been copying diatribe, like you wouldn't believe. A lot of Aussies are coming in to back me up, though, and it has become a colonial war.
Well, they say racing Twitter and trots Twitter goes off. I tell you what, I've noticed cricket Twitter, it can be very volatile.
A little bit vitriolic, I must admit, and long
You can handle it.
This is only we're only up to day 5 of a 25-day series, Freddie. So
you can handle it.
It lasts. It's been a big week. Now, Freddie, you said in our opener, which I love our opener, it says she is a star with a capital S. I tell you what, we have got a star with a capital L on the show today. Lauren Tritton's on the line. Hello, Lauren.
Hey guys, how are we?
We're nervous because we haven't had an international guest on before.
Come on.
Hey, we've been doing our research. Now, you're based over in the States now and doing great things. We'll get into that. We were watching a little bit of YouTube before. Did we suspect a little bit of an accent creeping into El Tritton?
I knew that was going to pop up.
Especially there's
Straight
one
off the
word.
bat.
There's one word I noticed. And.
And a little bit of
And?
mom. A little bit of mom.
Mom. There was a mom.
All right. I can't do that. That's the main one.
Is this just you getting into I guess into characters so that the Americans can understand you? Was this what we're dealing with? And now you're back in with us. You can sort of get back into your Aussie ways.
It got to the point where people were waiting at the end of my conversations to tell me that they had no idea what I was saying. So I just had to roll with it. Like even Shane orders Chinese and he ends up having to pass the phone to me because nothing gets ordered because they got no idea what he just said.
That is
It's
brilliant.
insane.
I totally resonate with that. I was at a wedding in the States just under a month ago, and it was an Aussie mate of mine getting married, and so there was an Aussie contingent there, and the number of blank looks we were getting when we'd have these little conversations about the old uni days or something like that, in the end we just thought, why are we trying to explain ourselves to the locals? We're merely just being polite here. They had no idea what we were saying. They couldn't understand some of the slang and the vernacular.
How often did you get asked, were you from England or New Zealand? Because often that's the question.
I get the Kiwi a lot.
Yeah,
I get that a lot.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Like, New Zealand's,
I honestly think they think that New Zealand and Australia are like very two different, like two same things. They don't, kind of think it's different countries. That's how I take it anyway.
Hey, Lauren, you're doing great things. We don't hand these out willy-nilly. Congratulations. We put in the notes for the podcast. We're joined by history-making driver Lauren Tritton, and we don't say that lightly. You had a great result last week, winning the Battle of Lake Erie there in Ohio with, a horse that we know really well here in Australia, Lochinvar Art. But, obviously the journey to get to that result that you guys produced last week is remarkable in itself, given the speed bumps and the road bumps that have been along the way. Congratulations. How are you feeling after that result?
Yeah, thanks. Look, it took a few days to, actually sink in. You dream of what happened last weekend. Shane and I dreamed of coming to America, and then we dreamed of winning races, and then we dreamed of winning a Grand Circuit race. It's like, this is just insane. And it took a couple of days to sink in, and it was just what dreams are made of, and the crowd was just absolutely crazy. They were roaring and clapping, and they made a big hoo-ha out of a female actually driving in the race and winning the race. So it was just awesome.
I want to get to that with you, but I guess the question we know what Lochinvar Art's capable. We've seen this superstar of a horse in his pomp, particularly the battles, the head-to-heads with King of Swing when the King was doing his thing. So we knew what Lochinvar Art's capable. How did this horse manage to slip under the radar of the Americans and go around at such a price?
Yeah, look, I raced Artie as a 2 and 3 year old with Muscle Factory, as you know, and we knew how special he was, and when we found out that we were getting Artie to train, we kind of told people what sort of horse of caliber was coming over, and they just blew it off. And then he qualified good and still blew it off. And then because I was driving, they just kind of didn't really care much about it, and they thought maybe if he was such a big thing, we would have put a professional driver on from here. And then when he came out and won his first start, people were just, like, wow, this horse is okay. And then when he came out and won the 2 heats of the Bagada, people knew how serious this horse was. And then we just, he started getting invites left, right and centre for stakes races. And I think then kind of people sunk in a little bit that he is an actual superstar.
So just, I got one for you for Jess. So the Battle of Lake Erie, if you can compare that race to something that we would be more familiar with here, where does it sit in the grand scheme of the big races in the States for our listeners?
I'd probably say like the Len Smith Mile or
it's a good race.
The mile sprint races. Yeah, like it was $200,000 invitational race. So that's their Ohio inviting what they think is the best 9 horses or 8 horses in the country. So that's how that plays out. It's just that's what they think their top pick would be, and that was the race.
Okay.
Lauren, as Paul mentioned just before, your history making, you were the first female to drive in the Battle of Lake Erie and then also the first female to win the race. What has been some of the biggest challenges you faced in adapting to the American racing style?
It's hard. It's hard for any person to come out of their comfort zone and do it in another, let alone do it in another country. I found it really hard to kind of each track, they have their different patterns, their different racing patterns, and then each track has a different 10 drivers, basically. So you got to get to know them. You got to get to know their racing style, their racing pattern. And it's not, like in Australia, how a horse, if it's neat, it goes on the front end, it goes on the front end. They drive here by pricing. So if a horse that's drawn the outsides 1 to 9 odds on favourite, they will just let it go straight to the front, where, as you would know, I would be the type of driver, if my horse needed to be better suited on the front end, I'd put it on the front end. If it wasn't, you'd sit it in. So that kind of, and if you're an outside favourite or an outside price horse, you don't get the front. They don't want to sit behind a horse that's high up in the market because they think that no one likes that horse, so it might not go good. So that was really hard for me to adapt to. And the speed, like we're going 50 mile, 49 mile rates around Bankstown and Penrith. Like it's craziness, and that was really hard for me to get used to. But yeah, it's kind of warming up.
Lauren, keeping on the theme of being the first woman to win the race and driving the race, it's commonplace here. We saw Kate win the Miracle Mile here back in March. We've seen Karen Manning so dominant for so long, and so many other female drivers, yourself included, winning plenty of Group 1s. What's the reason, or can you pinpoint a reason? And hopefully it's not, good old sexism rearing its head, but why is it harder in the States for not just harness drivers, even jockeys over there don't get many opportunities? Why is it harder over there, do you think, rather than our industry here?
Yeah, Freddie, it comes up a lot, this question, and I try not to raise the sexism card a lot, but this country is so stuck in the old times that they don't like change. And there's so many women that have come to me after me winning a race, or even last weekend, and thanking me for them coming out and starting to drive or starting to train horses or going out in a real race. It's like I mentioned before, there's the same 10 drivers at the track. It's not just women that aren't getting a go, it's the young kids as well, because they have these same drivers at each track. They're 40, 50-year-old, they're still going to do it for another 20 years. And then there's no new blood coming through. And a lot of women don't get a shot unless they're like me, who are, sort of driving my own horses. They're not getting a shot off anyone because I just don't. There's a lot of people out there that just don't think you're good enough. And there's not many women that think, I don't care if you don't think I'm good enough, I'm going to do it anyway, which is where I came in. And I tried to explain that to them, it doesn't matter if you stuff up. Everyone stuffs up. The good drivers stuff up. You just need to go out there and show them that you can do it and you're human too, And I try and drill that into them. And there's been a lot of women come out from the amateurs and try and have a crack at it. So hopefully I can make a change to this old-fashioned sport over here.
How good's that? How rewarding
so
that
flag
must be for people to
raiser for
people
the
to come along
cause.
Influential.
Yeah, people to come along and thank Lauren that she might have just cracked that nut, maybe.
The glass. Well, they call it the glass.
I'm trying. Yeah, it is the plan. Like I'm not going to go out and start a war or anything, but I just there's so many. There's amateur, which is like our junior drivers, but they have their own races where the amateurs just drive. And there's so many women that drive in that amateur field that just need to take that next step into the open driving professional drivers that they just so scared to, and they either don't have that, mentor or someone just to push them that little bit further. And I mean, every time I win a race, I have someone thank me for doing that. And it's not thanking me for winning the race; it's thanking me for showing that I am able to be out there.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who's relatively new to this industry myself, a couple of years in, I love that it's giving opportunity to young girls, to someone to be aspirational to, that we're not, saying, gee, I'm not backing that because Amanda Turnbull's driving. I'm not backing that because your sister Gracie Pinella's on it, or Gemma Coney, or or whoever.
And that's how I started. That's how I started. Like even last week before the race, before Artie's race, there was a comment put on social media that there's no way that I should be out there in this race. There's Artie needs to have a professional driver on, and then those people after the race were then saying, "Oh wow, she proved me wrong," blah 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 blah. So it's those little comments that will push someone back from taking a risk. that I hate seeing that, and I'm trying to push the women to ignore those little comments, or thriving, which is what I learned to do, thrive off those bad comments and show them that you can do it.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Well
you
done.
think about it. 50 years ago, we were having ladies only races, and they were considered a novelty. Now, some of the very best in the craft are lady drivers. What about having Kevin there? Kevin Gordon's the owner of Lochinvar. He had a lot of faith in you guys. I mean, I can vividly remember having a discussion with you around 2020, the time of COVID, and you were about to make the big move, and then you get a horse land on your lap like Lochinvar. To have Kevin there, that must have been pretty special.
Oh, look, Freddie, there's a video surfacing of Kevin and Leonie cheering Artie down the stretch. Like, it gave me goosebumps. I watched it a million times. Like, it was just, like, what are the chances of Kevin and Leonie being there and Artie winning one of those races? Like, it was just, like I said, it's just something that you dream of. And it was really special. And, I mean, Kevin made a scene. Like, everyone knows at Northfield who Kevin Gordon is, let me tell you.
Hey, it'd be remiss of us not to congratulate Shane as well.
Yeah,
of
course.
As training the horse, and congratulations to both of you. It is such a leap of faith for you guys to have packed up and go and set up somewhere. America it might be the land of opportunity, but it's bloody hard.
A long way away as well.
Well, to make that move,
they did it all during COVID as well.
Exactly. For you guys to have established yourself from ground up, and then go on and win, and be successful, and for you to prove your stripes and say, bugger the lot of you, I'm a bloody good driver here, and I'm gonna show you what I'm made of. I think it deserves significant, respect and applause.
I'm not really sure who you're talking about. No, I'm just kidding. No, seriously, Shane has done a super job with these horses, and especially Artie. Artie came over with a few problems, and we just sat down and spoke about it and made a plan, and it obviously has been really rewarding. But even coming over here, I always thought Shane was just talking, and all of a sudden, next minute he was booking our flights and we were going, and I kind of was very positive about it, but very, very scared. But he just led the way, and I can't thank him enough. He's dead set, made dreams come true, and he's just on a high right now. The horses are absolutely flying. We're trying to ride the wave before it crashes. So, he's got the barn just low flying at the moment, and I couldn't be more prouder of him as well. And he takes so much on his shoulders, and he just walks around like nothing's wrong.
Yet another winner tonight.
Yeah, another masterpiece cracked a win tonight. It was actually a mile and a quarter race. So.
Wow. That's unusual at Yonkers.
Quite interesting. Yeah. It was it's a heat. They did a half mile, a mile, and a mile and a quarter. So actually no, a mile and 6, I think it was tonight, and then it's a mile and a quarter next week for the final. So that'll be good for the Aussie horse, and hopefully he can get it done. And more exciting is It's a Me Mario actually made a $300,000 final next week at Yonkers, so called the Messenger. So that's quite exciting to head towards.
Hey, Lauren, what's the American outlook on our product here in Australia? I mean, we see, if you sit up late enough at night, or you're up early in the morning, or you're degenerate like myself and got Sky Racing on at 9 a.m. We're seeing, the racing product from the States on our TV screens. If we flip that, what's the American lens on our product here?
As in, like, showing the Australian racing, or
seeing it, and is it aspirational? Like, is there a desire to invest in it?
I'm not going to lie to you. The broadcasting for racing in America is quite terrible. They don't have like Sky Racing, which shows back-to-back race after race. They actually have channels. So Yonkers has its own channel, Meadowlands has its own channel, and so forth, which is, I think, crazy, because if I don't flick through the channels like a mad old man in his couch, I don't get to watch each race.
Yeah.
Sorry, Fred. You don't get to watch each race. So you have to pay a subscription to watch. It's called RTN, which is Racetrack News. And it doesn't actually, unless you click on that track, you can't watch it, which I think is crazy, because then you're not showing Aussie racing. You're not showing any other track. You know, if you're a punter, you're continuously flicking through the TV. I just think there should be time slots and I mean, I guess there is so many tracks that race each night, which there probably wouldn't be, but then that's why we have Sky 1 and Sky 2, right?
Yep, that's right.
So I don't know. Like I said maybe before when I mentioned the old fashioned, it's kind of like they're just scared to change and upgrade. But
Lauren, we've
I'm
got
only one out of them.
obviously you've gone over and done really well, but you're familiar with the crop of we talk on this show so often about the amazing young talent that we've got here in New South Wales, you know, from your Cameron Harts, Jack Callaghan's, you know, as you said, Gracie, we've mentioned her, and Blake, and, you know, we could go on and on about the young talent that is sort of this sweeping through our state. I've no doubt they've got aspirations to apply their trade, you know, in the States, you know, such as you guys had. How do you think they go? And, you know, is it as simple as being able to just say, you know what, I'm going to go to America and have a go, or are they've got some challenges in front of them even just to get drives in the first place?
Oh, look, I think it'd be really challenging for someone to come over. I think Toddy really landed in the right spot with his brother, and his brother actually was outed at the time, so his brother Toddy actually kind of got those drives, but not knocking anything away from him. Toddy's done a tremendous job, but I think if they really need to come over here and work for a trainer and then prove to that trainer that they're capable of doing it, because even when I came over, it didn't matter how many races I won or what I won. No one wanted a bar of me driving. So I think it's going to be quite difficult for a young kid to come over and prove in the driving ranks without, you know, knowing anyone or I know, being under someone's wing. Which is, like I mentioned before about, you know, it's a shame that there's no young blood coming through because they don't get the opportunity. So it would be hard. I'd love for Gracie to come over. I'd love for another girl, especially a Penella, to come over and show what she can do. She's a tremendous driver. I think she'd do really well in Menangle. I try to get her there, and she's got a great mentor in DJ, but she's stubborn and she won't leave. So
she's got fantasy points down up in the Hunter region, Lauren. Hey, so
I know.
It's incredible that you say that, you know, you went over and had to start afresh, given your CV, you know, youngest to 500 wins. You did that, you know, before you burst out of the teenage years. Your CV, you know, as you know, Jess can reflect. She's got notes here around some of the big races that you won over the years. It's incredible to think that you have to start afresh and re-establish yourself. But, you know, kudos for doing that. What's the goal over there then? I mean, I know that Battle of Lake Erie is a big race, but I reckon you've probably even got other targets on your mind.
Yeah, honestly, I keep having to set new goals because I didn't think I would crack some goals that I have recently. But I'd love to win another big race. You know, maybe for something at Meadowlands. I've got me and Artie got a big month coming up with some stake races. I think the Garrity is in July 15th. I think it's worth $450,000 at Meadowlands. I'd love to win something like that. You know, and I've got a really nice 2-year-old filly right now that I own a share in. She doesn't have normal races like you would as a 2-year-old, and then leading into big races. Her first starts in a heat of a big race. So I'd love to, and I broke her in myself, so I'd love to win a stakes race with her. I just want to keep winning races, you know, and, you know, we're doing really good right now. And just like I said, you know, you've got to keep riding that wave. And I think that's the goal, you know, happy family, happy barn, you know, we're all happy.
Do you get much chance to, you know, outside of the racing bubble, and I know you guys are time poor when you're running stables, but gee, I mean, I envy you. I envy where you are, and, you know, being on the doorstep of that concrete jungle where dreams are made of, as Alicia Keys call it, there in New York. Yeah, I mean, do you get a chance to get out and explore?
Yeah, look, we try and do as much with the kids as possible. You know, that's why I don't drive as much as what I need to be. I I would love to spend as much time with my kids as possible. And my daughter's really into horses and my son's into sports. So we juggle between those two and try and get as much done as possible.
What's
he love
the sporty? What's he
baseball?
getting into?
Baseball, soccer.
Yeah, baseball and golf, my son. And
Oh,
just
golf.
horses
That's
for my
good.
daughter.
Very good.
All right, cha-ching, cha-ching.
I would
Getting
love
good.
my son to be. I'd love my son to be a professional golfer, and I'm sure Shane is pointing him in that direction only.
Yes,
Does
yes.
he support the Yankees or?
Yes, he's a Yankee.
Yeah, good lad.
Aaron Judge, that's him all over. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you guys are doing great things. A quick question about, I know that you're a student of what happens here, and you guys keep a close eye on what's happening here. We're all about talking about the Eureka at the moment, and the world's richest race is on our doorstep. We're only 2 months away from that coming into play and being a reality. We're super excited about it. Have you had a look at that? And because we're talking about ambassadors,
I haven't had a real good
names.
look at. Yeah, I haven't had a real good look at it, and I think Shane would even say the same thing. It's a toss up. Like, there was a lot of hype about Captain Ravishing, and Shane and I were optimistic about him when he didn't be on the front end and things like that. But it's going to be a really good race, and you guys have done such a good job pumping it up. It's making its way over here with the news about, how much the race is worth and what you're doing to support it. So it's going to be a really interesting race, and I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, Charles Oliveira, obviously the UFC fighter with more than 6 million Instagram followers, just a few less than you, Lauren, is obviously going to be a nice little moth to the flame, I would have thought, for people, Jess.
Taking on Luke McCarthy. Be very interesting
Yeah,
to see.
we've actually met Ross. He's such a good guy. He's not what you expect to see a UFC fighter. He's like a real skinny guy who wears glasses, and it's just not what you expect. And he's such a humble guy and loves horses, and it'll be such a cool event. And you guys will love it.
Yeah, fantastic.
Awesome.
But it's any plans to get back over here for a visit or anything coming up soon, Lauren?
No, not really. I haven't. I'm trying to get as many family members over here as possible. It's such a long flight. But I think Ash Brennan's on her way over, and then Nunda Karen comes over the end of the month. So, I've been trying to get DJ over. There's no one I want more next to me in a big race than DJ. But, everyone's just busy, and it's such a long flight over. But, yeah, hopefully soon.
You guys are doing great things, as I said. We congratulate you on the success, and let's hope there's plenty more of it to come. Because you find the flag nicely for everyone over here. We're super proud of the achievements you guys have had, and I hope you feel the love and support and the warmth of spirit, that obviously the good vibes that are being sent from these parts, Lauren.
Yeah, thanks, guys, and it's really good to hear your voice again, Freddie. It was real cool to hear the calls at the start of this, and thanks for all the support, guys, and I hope we do you more proud and keep it coming.
Good on you, Lauren.
Keep it up.
Thanks
Good on
so
ya.
much, Lauren.
All right.
Well, there you go.
We didn't bring any tissues in. Well, the big man was going to tear up. That
Turn it up. No, it was good to chat with Lauren and learn a bit about the vagaries of their industry our industry, and in particular that aspect about the young drivers. They compete at their own level type thing, and it's hard to break through. And then the females in the sport, it's just learning a little bit about that. It's we just see the races on Sky as a rule, Meadowlands, Yonkers, and they're racing. And I've had the privilege of calling 3 races at Yonkers, and that's one of the things over there that they're really big on is lauding their owners. The owners get a lot of, so when you call them onto the track, you don't say, number 1, trained by Shane, driven by Lauren. You say the driver is Lauren Tritton and the horse is owned by, and in the case of Lochinvar, it would be, KJ Gordon. So it's all about the owners over there. And whether that's, because they're the ones stumping up the money and they're stumping up the training fees, they get plenty of reward for that. I know, as Lauren said before we went to air, that often the trainers don't even front at the races. They send their grooms, or what we would call strappers, I guess. So the grooms, they're known as over there. So the trainers don't even go to the races. So the owners and the driver gets all the kudos.
Well, it's like you see the Super Bowl. It's not the coach or or the best player, it's the owner of the team coming out. When the Denver Nuggets won last week, it was Mr. Kroenke, the owner of the team, come out and get the trophy, which has always felt a bit funny. But that's just the American way. And as you said, Freddie, they're stumping up the cash. So fantastic to have Lauren on the show. We've been trying to get her on for a while, and it just seemed appropriate to have her on this week after such a big result in the last week gone by. We've had big racing here, Jess. Trebles each at Menangle on Saturday night for Cam Hart and Jack Trainer. Really doing good things. One of those was Hot to Trot. Won the Trotters Mile for Jack Trainer and Mark Jones. Yeah,
Hot to Trot seems like a really, really impressive type, and it did everything right on Saturday, and it reaped the rewards. And also really nice, we had Mr. Colin Watts OAM here on course on Saturday to make the presentation. It was the Yamamoto Trotters Mile, and he drove Yamamoto to victory in the 1966 Inter-Dominion Trotters Final.
Yeah, good.
You won't see Hot to Trot in anything but mobiles, according to Jack. So I was talking to Jack on Sunday. He said that when the horse came over here, Mark Jones said, look, he's pretty ordinary from a stand. Just be warned, he's no good over here. Jack thought, well, we'll give him a go, see how he goes. And, of course, his first run here from a stand, he was diabolical. Since then, he's won a mile race and run fourth in a mobile race. So Jack has said exclusively mobile.
I posed a question to you guys just before we came on air. I said South Coast Arden was very good on Saturday night. Obviously won the beat Elder Orlando on Braveview Kelly. That's now 3 from 3 for the Fitzpatricks. Went 151.9. And I said to you guys, is South Coast Arden the real deal, or is he beating up on at a time of year when it's not, the ultimate elite racing? You guys are in camp very good.
Yes.
I think so. Absolutely.
Plain and simple.
Yep.
Yes, I think he's a very nice horse, and I think he'll have big targets with the Fitzpatrick stable, and I think he's going to be very competitive here in Sydney.
They've sent him over pretty much. I had him pegged being a typical Kiwi, maybe a distance type horse. We saw him do really well in the JD Watts, but interestingly, Gavin said that the owners pretty much wanted him here for mile racing, so you'll see a fair bit of him at the mile.
So where do you think South Coast Arden ends up, once we get into carnival season?
He will... obviously, he'll target. He'll target the Miracle Mile and those sort of races. But I think in the short term, they were still deciding whether he was going to head to Queensland. Certainly be competitive up there and earn some good money. But he's a serious racehorse, I think, Jess.
It'll be exciting once Carnival comes around. Yeah, seeing that. Already mentioned Cam Hart had a treble at Menangle Saturday night. He had one on hit last Tuesday here as well. Actually went 3 in a row through the middle of that card.
Yeah, I think that's just standard place now, isn't it, for Cam? Hearing him drive 3 winners, it's the standard. He's getting some great opportunities at the moment on some really, really nice types, and he's still getting the win. So well done, Cam.
I'll tell you what hasn't been the standard, but I think it could eventually become the standard, is Leighton Green doing similar. This is a kid with serious talent, picking up more and more drives. So well done to Leighton, well done to Dean and Kerry McDowell. They had a treble on Tuesday as well.
That's their second in 3 weeks, I think, Paul. Yeah.
So one of them was Maximus Meridius, which you've got a high opinion of, Freddie. Naughty boy early, but has started to string it together and do good things.
I think he just all in the head. As I mentioned, Dean had mentioned that the horse hadn't done anything wrong in its early starts and then its early trials, and then it came here at the races and was a bit lost. It's in on Saturday in the final of the trot final, and he's a very serious little trotter.
Yeah, absolutely. Jack Trainer had a good week as well. As I said, already, we mentioned that he had a treble at Menangle Saturday night. He had a treble at Penrith on Thursday. Included Naturally Gifted, which is a horse that's on the tip of a lot of tongues. Some talk about potentially around the Eureka with Naturally Gifted. Interesting horse.
Yeah, he first start for Jack at Penrith on Thursday night, and it was a really, really good win, as we expected to see of him. But yes, I think there's been some whispers potentially. Could there be a Eureka slot coming up? He's headed up to Redcliffe this Saturday night to contest the Derby, so we'll see him take on a stronger field again from that Penrith race, and keen to see where he levels up.
And remember that he took part in a Renshaw Cup after his Derby campaign here and raced horses like Porter Prince and a few of those seasoned, hard-headed horses as a 3-year-old, and he acquitted himself well, running third in that race.
Absolutely. Bernie Hewitt double to close out that Penrith program. Good to see Bernie come to the Metro tracks and do well in the midweeks. Well done. Amanda Turnbull double to bookend Bathurst on Wednesday night, a double at Parks on Friday for Mitchie Turnbull. So good on you, Mitchie, one of the good blokes of our industry. There was a Turnbull trifecta, I should mention, at Parks, race 3. So we had Mitch beat Amanda, beat Nathan. Now their cousin Emma was 5th. And Dad Steve trained the Quinella in that. So nice little family kind of situation. Not unusual, but doesn't happen all the time, I guess. But
Well, it does at Bathurst.
yeah. So, but that was at Parks.
Oh,
that one.
you know what I mean.
Western
Parks.
Western
Districts.
Districts.
Yep. Peter
Well
McRae
done.
and Blake Jones doubles at Wagga on Tuesday. Jake Hughes. So we say Blake's name a lot, but Jake Hughes, well done. He actually won the last two on that program at Tamworth on Thursday. Brad Elder did the same. Well done, Bevan Pringle. He's a name that we haven't mentioned a great deal on this show, but double at Newcastle on Friday as well. So
I actually black booked Mustang Millie for Bevan Pringle a few months ago and it managed to win. So there you go.
excellent. Jess, what's the best thing you saw this week?
Yeah, last Tuesday there was a bit of a unique feat here. After 6 races had been won, only two drivers had won events, and that was Cam Hart and Leighton Green. Then heading into the final race of the card, they were on a $4 and $2.90 chance respectively. Well, Seaton Grimer came along. He led on the Fortunate Son and just let it run, and it raced away to victory. And that was actually Dennis Marichic's first Club Menangle winner. So
How good.
parties all round for those 3 drivers.
I love those
and great
stories
effort.
of people breaking through for that first win because, as you said, that's their inner dominion at moment at times, And as you get further and further in the industry, you get a little bit immune to that winning feeling, I'm sure. But that first win, they're never going to lose that moment, are they?
No, that's right.
Yeah.
And you always remember he came down for a photo, Dennis, and was very excited. And everyone puts in so much effort to their horses, and it's so good when they're able to be rewarded with a win here at Menangle.
Fantastic.
For me, Just Believe second in that Group 1 at Bowden, Sweden. That was fantastic.
I didn't catch the call.
It was the call, Harry Cheadle's call.
Yeah, I didn't catch it.
How
you
did it
catch
go?
Something like around the turn and Just Believe. Come on, Australia, start cheering. Give it to us. Give it to us. Greg Sugars, you're going to run second. Be proud, Australia. He was fantastic. If you get the chance, go searching for Harry Cheadle, otherwise known as STC, Swedish Trots Caller. It was like there was no other horse in the race. It was just all about Just Believe. And when he said, come on, Australia, give it to us, I thought,
he was going to do it.
I didn't think he would do it either. I thought we could try and stitch him up, but he's done it, Freddie. That was unreal. Well done.
There's only one Harry Cheadle, but...
I hope that takes Twitter by storm.
No.
As I said when he was hamming it up before the show, I said, somewhere in Sweden there's someone doing a Freddie Hastings.
I don't think so.
Oh, it's not bad since Polly put that kettle on.
The king is in the
But
castle
anyway,
once again.
Harry Cheadle's call of Just Believe, and just the effort of Just Believe, and Greg and Jess, just fantastic. Flown the flag so famously well for Australia, and was beaten in a Group 1 by a very good horse over there.
Yeah, well done. I actually wasn't sure if it was Harry Cheadle or Tony Gregg from the 12th Man. I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
That's what he said. He said, I can't believe what I am seeing, Just Believe. Anyway, enough of that.
Brilliant. Fantasy harness racing, guys. Obviously, lockouts on our doorstep right now as we go to air live on the live stream. But 2 weeks to go. That margin, Tommy and I did the fantasy podcast yesterday. Our leader had a 90-point lead, 57 points it's been paired back to with 2 weeks to go. And next week, we've got 3 triple points races. Wow. We've got driver unavailabilities. We've got a lot of volatility.
Queensland
over the last
Carnival,
2
people
weeks.
going north.
So, 33, what was 90? And I'll tell you what he did. He had Will Rickson as captain instead of Cam Hart, which Matt Lepard, who I know you're familiar with, Freddie, he had Cam. He's second. I think the car's going to be won by one of those two.
Yes.
The other one, I'll tell you what, if you come second, nothing to be sneezed at. You get a $5,000 Harvey Norman voucher. Plus, you get the flights and the accommodation and the hospitality at the Eureka. It's a serious prize pool that we're putting up. But, 2 weeks to go. Even that chase for the top 10 to get to those Eureka VIP spots is on because they're going like hotcakes, aren't they, Jess?
They are.
They are going to be hen's teeth kind of material, a VIP ticket at the Eureka.
Without a doubt, the interest in the race has just been unreal. And as you said there, those VIP tickets, I don't think there's many left. So very rare commodity.
Just on fantasy, don't forget tonight, a bit of a rarity, the Wagga meeting tonight. Normally it's just Tuesday Menangle and then it moves to Bathurst and so on. But Wagga tonight
Get
is
that hashtag Riverina form
hashtag
into your
Riverina
team.
form.
You want to find a winner
Lee
there.
Jones,
And that's
Jay
good
Painting.
and that's been good for people who've said, well, they, literally when lockout happens at midday Tuesday, today, there's only one race meeting that they won't know the fields.
That's right. And I think
Just
that's
Newcastle. So
awesome.
they'll know
Has to make
Borgas as
help
Fife.
make a difference to your team.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, at a really pivotal and week for the game, critical time for those at the lead. I think they'd appreciate knowing.
Question without notice for
Yeah.
you, having been the engineer of this, mastermind of this concept. Is there a thought maybe in the next season that when it's run that there might be more than 6 meetings? 6 meetings.
Potentially, yeah, potentially. What we'd like to do is make a lot more drivers more relevant. As we know, it's been, you can put yourself in a position where you can really kind of put a lot of points emphasis on our metropolitan drivers. But what we've seen in the last few weeks with driver unavailability, so, Robbie Morris not driving here, Luke McCarthy not driving here, Jack Traynor, hit and miss, Jack Callaghan's been suspended, Blake Hughes, it's made the pool of drivers and the point spread go a lot further. And that's opened up a lot of opportunity and a lot of doors. And we think that being able to have more races involved will potentially...
So it might happen, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what you want to get to a point is you go, well, if I'm going to put the captain and get double points for a captain, is it, for so long it was, well, do you pick Cam, do you pick Robbie? It's probably one of those two. Or, Josh Gallagher had a few good weeks. But you want to get to a point where you go, gee, Nathan Turnbull's driving in Parks and he might have a fill up there and he's got Bathurst as well, and I add up his points that he might get. Gee, he's a legitimate captain option. Blake Jones might go great in Riverina, or Tommy Ison might have a day out at Tamworth, like we've seen him do.
Yep.
And I add that up, it might actually be worth more than what Cameron might get in the Metropolitan. So I guess
just
that's
a bit of tweaking, but it's a
we-
possibility. Look, I love it. I just love fantasy harness racing, and I'm coming 81st, I think, so I'm still hanging into that top 100.
Well
So
done.
what I would
Very
say,
good.
Freddie, is I did reach out to all the people who've won weekly prizes during the week. As the distribution process is in place with them, but the invitation's there for people to just pass on their reflections on what season one looks like, ideas that they think might make the game better. And that feedback has been coming back. I can't say that it's not a great deal different from what we've probably already had up our sleeve anyway, to be able to try and make some changes to the game to make it more dynamic but yes, it has been a game that has certainly put. We had some meetings with the developers yesterday that's put the conversation out there. And it's stimulated the conversation around our sport. It's put our regional tracks more on the radar of people and given midweek racing an emphasis and some momentum, which is, and it's put drivers at the forefront of people's minds and raised their profile. And, we got that when Will Rickson was here. Remember, he said someone came up and asked for an autograph merely because they were in his fantasy team. Well, that's great feedback, and that's great for the drivers because they deserve it. And, people like, imagine how popular Lauren Tritton would have been if, she was, driving here when, or the game was around when
Todd
Lauren was in her
McCarthy,
team driving here. So, and that's what we want, to be able to create that interest in our sport and in the drivers and the broader conversation. It's ticked a lot of those boxes, Okay, so 8 races this afternoon, Jess. As we said, it's a little bit fresh in the air, but a beautiful sunshine day here in Sydney. Should be fantastic.
Yeah, it'll definitely be nice, I think, until about the last 2 races when the sun's set and the cold's definitely set in. But first race kicks off at 1:33 and 2 trotters races to kick us off for the day.
Isn't today the shortest day of or is it tomorrow? The winter solstice? Yeah, so it's going to get dark quicker. It might be the last 3 races it'll get dark.
Excellent. You enjoy
Happy
your
days.
nice warm
I got a
call
lovely
as well.
warm
Day-night cricket.
Yeah, lovely warm box upstairs, and I'll be fine.
The twilight action for you, Freddie. So Waggas tonight, as you said, and that's what our fantasy points are applied to tonight. Bathurst Wednesday, we've got Tamworth and Penrith on Thursday, Young, Dubbo and Newcastle on Friday, Bankstown and Canberra on Monday. So actually, no, they're not racing on Monday, are they? No. I've got some old notes sitting there, so sorry about that. And then Menangle Saturday night.
Yeah, good night of racing on Saturday night. I mentioned the Trots, 2-year-old Trots final. That'll be a beauty, but the support card's very good, and good to see Heaven on High go around again for us in a very, very tough race.
Yeah,
he's up there, and
it's gonna be a good metric
Well, it's a good measure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good metric, good measure of where he's at. But gee, it's a really good field, that second race.
And Blake Fitzpatrick will.
Yeah, Blake's driving. Yeah, Jack's heading north for the Queensland Carnival. He's taking a team of horses. Horses like BK Swy will be on the truck, and Braveview Kelly, of course. So he's earmarking some good
and
races.
He's familiar with the horse. Like he's done it before.
Oh, the horse since he's been here has only had 2 drivers.
Yeah,
Jack, who just happens to have won all. Sorry, Blake. Jack's won all 5 races on him, and then Blake's driven him whenever Jack's been either suspended or away. Like he spent some time in the States and so forth, and now he's gone to Queensland. So Blake will jump into the bike, and the horse doesn't lose anything with Blake being in the cart.
Okay. How's your black bookers going for us, Jess?
Yeah, ran third on Saturday night here at Menangle, but this week I've gone with GFC. As it crossed the line last week, I actually messaged Freddie straight away and I said dibs on that one being my black booker. It just powered home there. It's in similar company again this afternoon, and so I'm hoping GFC can run a draw.
Global financial crisis.
That's the one.
Topical.
That's the one.
Topical if you're following my black bookers at the moment.
It's a crisis, you mean?
Yeah.
My black look, it's easy to jump onto the winning form bandwagon, but gee, I'm really taken with South Coast Arden. And I like what I heard Gavin say about the horse. He's actually in on Saturday in the feature race, the Golden Mile. So draws out a bit, but he's a nice horse. What I liked about him this week, Paul, he was in for the fight, developed into a bit of a dog fight, and he really wanted it. He really gripped hard and chased. So and was able to stave off the challenges. So I like him.
Putting a nice picket fence together too.
Yes, my word.
Yeah. So all right. Now. We mentioned this last week. I'll reiterate it because it's important. Strategic plan is available on the Harness Racing New South Wales website for feedback, consultation. So get involved. Everyone in the industry's had an email sent out inviting those invitations and feedback. So get in and do that. We've mentioned a couple of times young Lila Truan. So she's been sort of making moves, but oh, geez, I'll tell you what, I went on the GoFundMe page and had a look. The industry has really got around this cause. It makes me so proud the way that people have said, gee, this is a worthy cause. This is needy, and they've jumped on board and helped out. So, Lila, our thoughts are with you, the extended family and everyone. Our thoughts are with you, and we just wish you the best of luck with that recovery because tough times for the family all around, guys. Yeah, and also. Last week we teased it, but the 5th horse for the Eureka has been named the Lost Storm. That's a good get for the tab.
Yeah, very exciting. I think we were waiting to see would Clayton and Emma get a horse into the race, and they have. It's the Lost Storm. He had an absolutely incredible 2-year-old season, and he'll line up here on September 2nd for the first time at Club Menangle, and how exciting will that be?
Absolutely, and he's the first of the field. So far, 5 of the 10 have been announced, and he's the first of the 3-year-olds, which is interesting.
And that's advantageous, isn't it? Because you get the...
it
might be advantageous depending on the horse.
It's going to be interesting because you were just touching on naturally gifted, bit of whisper around it. You've still got some very talented horse flesh to be sorted, and then you've got the winners of the Hayden and the Bowtide for those Queensland and Tassie slots. So very interesting. But he was the first of the 3-year-olds, and why wouldn't you? He's got an amazing form line. The Lost Storm, and a serious horse. So and so well respected in pre-post futures markets that I think he's about 3rd or 4th favourite. He's 2nd favourite behind Leap to Fame in the big race up at Queensland. So he's a serious racehorse.
What about? I was going to touch on Leap to Fame quickly. Smashed the track record up there in Queensland. I think he'd be pretty happy if you'd secured Leap to Fame as your slot for this race.
Yeah, well,
that run was just incredible. Incredible. No words, and I think. Is he currently the tab fixed odds favourite? And he rightly
justifiably.
So
the Seymours have put so much into the sport, and they were quickly they nominated him as their runner, obviously, and with justification. We've seen him here. We've seen how good he goes here. He dodged races like the Chariots. To mainly focus on the Eureka, so he's an amazing horse. But what a field it's starting to develop into. When you consider, we've got a Miracle Mile horse that's winner. It's going to be in the field. Catch a Wave. Captain Treacherous. Where does it end? It's just
Ravishing.
amazing.
Captain-
Captain Ravishing.
Captain
Sorry.
Ravishing as well, who we just beat.
But
Catch Away
5
in the
more to come.
Chariots.
There's some interesting ones in market that don't have slots, like a horse like Major Delight,
Yeah,
for example, that we've seen do so well here. And
very good.
absolutely tear this track apart.
Would take the advantage as well, being a 3-year-old filly in the draw.
Yeah, so interesting times, and it's we had Nathan Turnbull on. Remember, he told us, no, I'm not. We won't be doing the Eureka. Still remains just flirting with the market there, somewhere around the 6th or 7th line of betting. Better be the best.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what Nathan does. Whether he sort of decides, why not? The opportunity's there. Why not?
And then we've still got the loaders.
As well.
Yes.
Could
Gotta
Rip
pick their spot.
potentially.
But maybe Rip, but I
Yeah.
think I mentioned I was talking to Wayne up at Bathurst when we had the Tab Regional Final, and he said, in this caper, you've got to have a plan A, plan B, plan C, all the way through. So I think Rip has always been their ideal contender, but Wayne being Wayne, Julie, they'll have other options.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, we're going to be spending a lot of time talking about the Eureka in the lead up to that on September 2nd. Jess, I know the club's doing amazing things. We've been involved in meetings and that. We can't... Yeah, there's things in play which all we could say is they are so exciting, aren't they?
They are so
It's just going to be a
exciting.
mega night and days leading up to it. It is. I'll tell you what, harness racing hasn't seen much like this. What's coming?
It's going to
exciting,
be a
isn't it?
night to remember,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
just for the action on the track. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Guys, go well this week. Good racing here this afternoon. Fantasy harness racing. There's so much going on. Have a good week.
You too, Paul.
How good was that having Lauren on the line? We went a little bit longer than we probably thought we might, but and there's so much we didn't get to with her. But
Yeah.
I love hearing that perspective that we're seeing from abroad. But her take on being someone who's been successful and the challenges and the speed bumps she's had to overcome in order to get to where she
I
is
found
right
that
now.
very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, to everyone tuning in on the live stream, thanks for your time. We really appreciate it. If you're listening on the podcast, wherever you are, we equally appreciate that. And if you are in a position to give us a like, share, follow, kind review, we would appreciate it. We love bringing you this show, and it helps amplify the profile of the sprint lane, but broadly harness racing here in New South Wales. And we've got a product we want to sing from the rooftops, and we want to continue to tell everyone about the great things that are happening in harness racing in New South Wales. Jess, have a great week.
Thank you.
Good luck to the Eels. They're even playing this week.
Yes,
They got-
we are.
Yeah.
Are we?
I've done my footy
Yes,
tips.
we are. I
Bye
think
week.
we're playing on Saturday night again. Yeah.
All right. Go to the Maroons tomorrow night. No, it's
Goodbye.
good place.
Hey,
to
you
end
can
it.
tell it, Jess. You can tell a Queenslander. You just can't tell her much. I'm joking.
You don't get an accent like mine growing up.
Good on you, Paul. All the best.
Everyone have a great week, and we'll catch you next week on the Sprint Lane. Bye-bye.